Hello, I'm Josh, and welcome back to another edition of Frugal Me Live, where we talk about all things related to your finances. Tonight, I am excited to have Frugal Freddy with us, where we're going to talk tonight about practical tips and money advice for not only millennials. I know that the title there says millennials, but even if you're not a millennial, this is some advice that you can make applicable to wherever you are in your financial journey. And before we get started as well, I want to give a special shout out to my wife, Keisha, who's working all of the background stuff over there. And she's over there just waving, making those gestures there. So how are you doing, Freddie?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Josh?
Oh man, I'm doing awesome. It's a lovely day and a nice day as well to talk about our finances here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yes. So, Freddie, can you just let everyone know a little bit about you and where they can find you?
Oh yeah. So my real name is Alfred, and some people call me Fred, but I go by Frugal Freddy on social media. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a personal finance coach and blogger. You can follow me on any of the social media platforms at Frugal Freddy. My website is frugal-freddy.com. Actually, I'm kind of taking a little hiatus from social media, but I'm pretty active in my stories. So I still kind of push out content from time to time, but just hit me up in the DMs and we can go from there.
And awesome. And if you're watching this here on the live stream and also the feedback as well, all of Frugal Freddy's information, how you can connect with him, that's down in the description box below as well. So what you say, call you Fred?
You call me Freddy, you call me Al, you call me Frugal Freddy.
Awesome. Well, Fred, what came about for you to start the Frugal Freddy brand?
Good question. It happened about 2 years ago. I was going through my finances, and I read the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like there's a lot of people going through the same thing that I was going through. So actually, one of my good friends from high school called me Frugal Freddy, and I was like, man, that got a ring to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm just going to steal this. And I told him whenever I make it big, I'm going to have to pay him a couple of dollars. But to be honest, I started Frugal Freddy as like a tongue-in-cheek type of thing. Like, it was kind of a joke. And then it just took off. And ever since then, I've been getting confirmation that this is what I'm destined to do, is talk about personal finance, talk about my journey through debt freedom and wealth accumulation. So that happened about 2 years ago, and I'm still keeping going.
All right. So is there anything that happened along the way that like turned on the light bulb and was like, this is my calling, or this is what I want to do to pour into someone else's life?
I would say when me and my wife started like document our debt-free journey, when we were posting like how much we were paying per month and how much our debt was going down, that was the click where, people, some people aren't comfortable talking about money, especially on social media. And I think once, we showed that vulnerable side of us, it'll allow other people to say, you know what, I'm going through the same thing that you guys are going through. So I would get different, DMs and messages or even text messages like, keep doing what you're doing. You inspire me to get rid of my debt. So that is something that's really pushed me to continue forward with Frugal Freddy.
And that's one thing as well, when you said that people are not quick to talk about their finances. It's like a taboo subject around the table. That is something that we all need to know about, something that's all there. It's like that big elephant that's in the room, but no one really wants to hear about it. And by reading the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, that's one thing I really like about that book as well, because not only is it going through those principles, but people are able to share their stories. And you be like, well, I thought I was the only one in that position.
Totally agree.
Yes. And also I was following along with your debt journey as well. And it's one thing that you pay off debt, but it's so important too that you have a budget in place with that as well. So why do you feel that budgeting is important?
Budgeting is really important, and I would say the budget that we had was probably the main thing that helped us reduce the debt by so much, because you tell your money what to do, and we employed the debt snowball effect. So that's when you list all your debts from largest to smallest. You focus on the smallest one, then you just roll over the payments once you pay off that lowest balance. So by budgeting, it allowed us to say, all right, we got this money left over. We can allot, $2,000 just to debt, just knowing that, marriage is a life hack. You combine finances, all that good stuff. But it allowed us to tell us where the money was going. And that definitely helped with reducing the debt by so much over time.
Okay. So whenever you talking about millennials here, what is one of the smartest things, or some of the smartest things, should I say, that millennials can do with their money?
That's a great question. I would say, first of all, like knowing your income and your expenses each month or each paycheck. I prefer the budget by paycheck rather than by month. So just knowing that off the rip really helps you really understand what is coming in and what's going out. So once you know that, you can, align your goals, your saving goals, your debt reduction goals, your wealth building goals, along with those when you find out your numbers for that month or that paycheck.
Okay, so it's pretty much just setting up those goals, because whenever I set up goals, especially financial goals, I like to put that short-term goal together. So it's like what I want to accomplish in that first month, or just even if it's weekend by weekend, and that way I can get to that larger goal. Like I was sharing with you that I already made up in my mind that the next car that I get is a Tesla Model Y, not unless they come out something cooler. And I know that we're all talking about frugality here, but I'm a firm believer that when you're being frugal, it's not about being cheap, but it's about being resourceful, putting those dominoes in place, making that plan in order to reach that goal. So like maybe that short-term goal would be for me getting like, okay, this month I want to get $1,000 just by doing side hustles and different jobs on the side in order to get that larger goal at the end. So those are some of the things that can keep me going in the right direction. That. So what are some of the things and some of the biggest mistakes that you say that people and millennials would make with their finances?
I would say not having a money management plan, not having a budget. And I think, like we said, having a budget is very important, but having, those goals and having a plan, and also trusting that plan, because each paycheck or each month, different expenses do come up, and it's being flexible in that and not being so rigid in the budget. And that may sound counterintuitive, but sometimes we can get so narrow-minded with our finances and not, allowing ourselves to have some type of grace with that. Because, like I said, things come up, and that's why it's always good to have an emergency fund. If a person doesn't, that's something to strive for. But also still having cushions in your budget where, at the end of the month, you may leave an extra $50 in your budget just for miscellaneous things. Yeah. You never know what may come up.
Yeah. And one of my favorite analogies with budgeting, and is pretty much, I would say, like if you're going on a trip, you would want to know what the plan, how long you're going to be there, why you're going, what time you're leaving, what stops you may make along the way. But whenever it comes to our finances, it's like we forsake planning accordingly. Then we get mad or look back and be like, OMG, like, where did my money go? How did this happen? It's because we really didn't have a plan in place. So I really feel that is so important for you to have that type of plan in place as well.
I totally agree, man. Totally agree.
Oh,
can I add one more thing?
Yes.
One thing that I've learned, man, like I used to be in love with my budget and being in my Excel file almost every day. So I got to a point where before that, I will always go in and pay my bills, and I got satisfaction out of that.
Yeah.
Now, more recently, I automated all my expenses outside of I haven't automated my student loans because I don't trust them. But I automated all of my expenses, and that has alleviated so much stress and so much time. And I'm not looking at my Excel spreadsheet budget every day. I may look at it every time I get paid or right before I get paid, and I'm done with it. So I can utilize the time that I would have been looking at my budget and being in love with my budget, doing something else. So I would say if people are on the fence about automating their expenses, please do it. It saves you a lot of time, a lot of headache, and it gives you more time to do other things that are probably a little bit more important.
All right. Look like we have a question here from My Unicorn Rainbow. Is there a great site that you would recommend that you start your budget?
Yeah, I know the one thing everyone probably knows about is Dave Ramsey. Is it Every Dollar app or something like that?
Every Dollar.
Yeah, I've used it a couple times. And it all depends on your preference. I know Mint.com has a budgeting function. YouNeedABudget.com has a budgeting function. But also, if you're a type of Excel person like myself, Excel works well as too. So,
absolutely.
Excel, you need a budget, or Dave Ramsey Everyday Dollar app.
And one thing that I use the Every Dollar, but at the same time, I know on Google Docs too that they have a spreadsheet on there, and they already have it calculated with the different categories and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever and I know I'm jumping off here, but I know that you said that you were on your debt-free journey. And so how did that go for you?
Like currently or throughout the whole process?
Throughout the process.
So started with 145,000.
Well, just like take us on a trip there. Like,
I got you.
Looked up one day, like with me, I looked up one day and I was over 100,000 in debt. And I had a guy, he was always at the place that I work, and he was always just a giver. And I was like, what is it that you do? And I want to be like you. Like, how can I get in a position where I don't necessarily have to go out every day and work for my money, but my money can begin to work for me? And the first thing he told me was, Joshua, if you have any debt, get out of it. So, like, what was your wake-up call, and like, how was that process for you?
I would say the wake-up call was when I got my second big boy job. You know, the job where you get a comma in your paycheck. All of my money was going towards my student loan debt, and at that time, I had about $145,000 of student loan debt. All of it, most of it was from my grad school. You know, I went to a small liberal arts school, which was crazy expensive. So that was the first wake up call. So I decided to get a job at Subway, and to be honest, I had to swallow my pride. Here I am, got a job at a Fortune 500 company. I got an MBA, but I'm working at a Chase bank. But at night I'm working at Subway making sandwiches. And I had to humble myself. I said, you know what? If I'm gonna get rid of this debt, I got to do it by any means necessary. So swallow my pride, flipping my sandwiches, working 12-hour days, 15-hour days, and was able to use that money. Whatever I made from Subway went straight to the debt. So from there, that graduated to delivering food and groceries with Postmates, and then from there, that graduated to working at Target. And pretty much every side hustle that I had went towards the debt, along with the money that we were budgeting from the 9-to-5 money to go towards debt. So that allowed us to pay a lot more money that we would typically have paid if it wasn't for the side hustles. So right now, I started at 145. Right under $60,000 now. However, I have a different perspective on debt right now. I don't know if you want me to go deeper into that.
Go into it.
So my perspective's changing through this journey. Like, now I'm trying to find different vehicles or avenues where I don't mind using debt to make money. And if that asset or that activity makes me money and the debt related to that is reasonable, I'll take that risk. So, for example, I'm about to get into vending machines, and vending machines, depending on the location, you can make some good money. I looked at one; it was two machines. It was making $2,000 a month, and that's attractive. But it was debt associated to buying those machines, which could have paid off those machines in a year and a half or so. So my perspective is really changing. And one thing that I try to tell people, trying to be debt free is not a sprint. Like allow it to be a marathon. Like who cares if you get rid of your debt in 6 months? As long as you get rid of your debt. Yeah. And I think that's the one thing with social media. We glorify, oh, so-and-so got debt free in 6 months.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like in those 6 months, like what was the cost? Was it your stress? Was it your anxiety? Whatever the case. So those are my 2 cents. So yeah, I have a good perspective.
That was deep. That was really deep. And it's been a while, but I put out a video as well, and it was talking about vending machines and how to go about that. And like even out there too, that you can buy some not brand new ones, but it's almost like refurbished ones as well. It's like a fraction of the cost. And I know a vending machine is not passive income because you still got to stock it up and do stuff like that, but it's darn near passive.
Yep.
And some of those smart ones, it will literally send a signal out to your phone, or you can check it on the internet to see how much merchandise you still have in that vending machine. So you don't have to ride around town to see, okay, am I about out? But it will send you a notification as well. So, I mean, like what you said, $1,000, $2,000 a month just buy off of that one machine. I mean, that's really worth my time going out there 1, 2, 3 times a week and just refilling. So that's some powerful stuff. That's some powerful stuff. So what would you say to the person that says, I know I need to save, I know I need to pay off debt, but how much and why should I do it?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. How much depends on the goal. Like you said, you want to buy that Tesla, and you said it's about what, 25,000 or 24,000? Whatever the activity or the goal that you're trying to achieve with that savings, that determines what the amount is. But I always recommend, people at least have an emergency savings. I know, the Dave Ramseys of the world and all the people say $1,000. If $1,000 is a challenge to get to started, 500, and then graduate from there. But always at least have something in a nest egg just in case something happens. But then outside of that, it all depends what the goal. Like if it's buying a home, if you want to put down $15,000, take that percentage, take that total amount, divide it by 12 or 16 or whatever the case may be, and just throw that in your savings account that's not attached to your checking. So a whole different bank. So the money's out of sight, out of mind, and then preferably if you can automate it, that would be even better. And another thing I would say, and I'm definitely guilty of this, is being patient with saving, because we want these things right then and right now, but money don't grow on trees. So how can we employ patience during this time? Because it'll be easy, for you to finance the Tesla, and if you want to finance a car, by all means do that. But I know there's some people that much rather pay cash for a car. Mm-hmm. But that also
a better deal too.
You get a better deal, but that also employs patience. Like you got to be patient to save that $24,000 and not touch it. And you may have $25,000 in your bank, and you may have about 1,000, or you may have 25 in your savings and have about 500 in your checking. To me, I always say I'm broke, no matter how much I got in my account. I'm broke. So it's just really having that mind state of saying, all right, I'm going to save this money because this is something that I want to buy. This is something I enjoy. So, those are my 2 cents when it comes to savings.
Okay. Are there any expenses that should never be put on credit?
Ooh. That's a good question. My perspective on credit's changing a little bit too. I would say groceries. However, if that credit card is tied to a grocery store, which You can get an Amazon card, which is tied to Whole Foods. That's what I do. I use my Amazon card to buy groceries from Whole Foods because it's incentivized for me to do that. But outside of that, I don't know, man. What you think?
With food, well, like if I would buy groceries on there, I would knock it out like right away.
Exactly.
Because that's really a depreciating value because once you eat it, I mean, and you're still paying interest on it. But things that I would never put on credit, I would pretty much say a lot of like televisions, electronics, things like that, especially those things that will drop in value very quickly because a lot of cards out there, you're still paying 20, 30% interest on something.
Right.
So you go out and buy, and I know there are some people, they go out for Christmas every year and they put it all on credit. And a year later, they're still trying to pay off last Christmas.
Right.
And all that stuff is even gone, broken, and you forgot what you bought.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I try my best where I just don't put stuff on credit. I know because I know everyone's situation is different. But like if you have a large car repair and you need that to get to work, and you can't, well, especially right now with everything going on with the pandemic, or where you don't want to Uber and stuff like that. If you need $2,000-$3,000 transmission and it's not going to total out your car, I mean, I get that, but I would put that $3,000 if I really had to on credit. But then I would say, what can I do now that I can knock that right back out? Do I need to go start doing like Uber Eats, DoorDash? Or like, what can I do to knock that right back out? Because some of my biggest regrets, Freddie, one of them is I have a timeshare out in the Bahamas.
Oh.
And I thought it was a good idea when I originally bought it. I was like, yeah, I can knock this out within like a year. I'm going to have it out of my life. However, I thought I was signing up for a mortgage, not knowing that they put it all on a credit card. So not only was it like a $20,000 timeshare, I was now paying about 25, 26% interest on that. Then whenever I go to like timeshare exit team or someone to get that out, they're like, well, you put it on credit and that's pretty much that you pay cash for it. So you're just stuck with it. Wow. And I had people telling me like, yeah, before I could get out, when I could get out of it at first. So that's another thing. Never put a timeshare on credit. So I would say that was like my dumbest mistake out there is putting $20,000 on a timeshare. And quite honestly, I never even stayed at the place. I'm like, even now, that was years ago, but
you don't got it no more?
Never stayed there.
Wow. When I went to Vegas, they tried to get us with that, like try to like give all this pressure to do it. And I was poker faced all out because I wanted to get I was in Vegas and I wanted to get tickets to the show. I said, yeah, bring everybody, you know. And I tried to make it seem like I was going to buy it. I knew I wasn't going to buy it. But yeah, stay away from timeshares.
Yeah. So what is one of your favorite tips on how to save money?
Good question. You got some tough questions. I would, like I said before, having a plan, like writing the plan down, writing what you want to save for, no matter what it is, no matter what the amount is, if it's for Christmas, if it's for a car, or if it's for a down payment for a home. Determine what that amount is, writing it down, looking at it often. I'm all about manifestation of goals and dreams. So if you manifest what you want, it will come. So if it's, like I said, the down payment for a home, write it down, put it in your bathroom, look at it every day, but have a plan in place to achieve that goal and being patient through that process and put money aside and trying to find other ways. And I know we can cut expenses as much as we can, but it's also trying to find ways to bring more money in as well. So like you said, the side hustles or really pouring into the gift that we all have. We all have a unique gift and trying to find ways to monetize that. As you can see, we both have the same shirt on. This is something from my brand. I'm like, oh, this is pretty catchy. Let me monetize that. And so it's just one of those things, just getting really creative and trying to find different things to bring income in. I know one of the other things that a lot of people do, and it's something that we've done, is sell the junk in our home. Like, there's a lot of stuff I'm sure that is sitting in everybody's house that you can make some money off of. And we made about $5,000 just selling junk in our home over about a 2-year span. And doing garage sales every month, being on the corner of the street and people like rolling past, like, oh, let me get that, and then hop out their car. So it's like really getting creative with it and doing it. So
cool.
Hope that was good enough.
Oh man, I'm enjoying myself. Is there anything, any more knowledge or anything else you want to share with us tonight?
I would say one thing that I've learned through this process is, like I said, be patient. Everything can't happen overnight. If I can be debt free tomorrow, I'll sign up for that, but I know that's not realistic. Also, I would say self-education when it comes to personal finance is so important. So there's tons of YouTube. You got Frugal Me Live. You got Just Frugal Me. All these different social media influencers and gurus. Pick the one that you most connect with. Take what you want to take from them and apply it to your own life. I'm an avid reader. I know we talked about The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I like The Millionaire Next Door. I forgot the author's name. That was a great book. Rich Dad Poor Dad is another great book. There's so many different so many nice books out there that kind of gives you a whole different perspective when it comes to this personal finance stuff. There's another one, Choose FI. That's Choose Financial Independence. Great book. It just it gave me a whole different view on how to achieve financial independence. And that's something we all are trying to strive for. And you don't need $1 million to be financially free. Mm-hmm. Financial freedom is what you think and what you think it is for you. It's not really an amount. So that's the type of space I'm in. I'm like in this like Zen spiritual type of thing when it comes to finance.
Awesome. Keisha, can you go over to the chat, please? All right, Stroll. All right, yeah, I just want to just thank everybody for coming out tonight. I see that we have Asia, Sierra here tonight. I see Ro from Rochelle Adamson's Budget, Zogo Mogo. Thank you for coming out. Scully is here, or Scully. Thank you for coming out. If you ever want to hear some great stories, head over to his channel as well. Did I miss anyone going on down? Y'all can't see what's happening. She's strolling down for me, going down the list here. I see Sierra. Sierra Shanks is here. Thank you so much for coming out. And everyone that's watching this in the playback as well, thank y'all so much for just taking time out. If you haven't done so, check out the link to Frugal Me Freddy. No, not Frugal Me Freddy. Frugal Freddy down below, and you can always connect with him, especially on his stories on Instagram. He always just share things that's going on, and I believe in. I may be speaking ahead of myself, but I believe that that you have a young one addition to your family over the last year or so as well. So how's that coming along?
Oh man, dad life is great. So we have a daughter, Savannah Danielle. She's about to turn 2 in a couple months, but fatherhood is amazing, man. I would say that first year was tough, trying to get used to the sleep schedule. I slept on the floor for the most part of her first year because she was sleeping in bed with my wife. So it was just one of those things where, you got to do it, but I love it. I love seeing her grow up. So when she gets old enough to really comprehend what we're talking about, she got it coming. She got it coming.
Yeah, especially with my 2 girls too. Just watching the girls grow up, it really just changed your perspective and open your eyes to a lot of this finance stuff as well. Because the last thing with my daughters I want to pass on is debt and that mindset. And it's one of those things what my favorite Chinese proverb is that you give a man a fish, he will eat for a day. But if you teach a man how to fish, he will eat
Mm,
for a lifetime. So it's always just spreading that knowledge. And
mm,
whenever we're talking about leaving a legacy, Freddie, for our kids, it's not just leaving a check to go on, but it's that knowledge, how to actually be able to provide for yourself, to plan, to budget, and and not run into those generational curses of finances. So that's a powerful thing as well.
I agree.
Oh, yes. So thank you so much for coming out. And again, if you're watching this, make sure you go on and connect with Frugal Freddy. And also, he have merchandise as well out there. Lizzie, she picked this shirt out.
Oh,
I was online and she's like, Daddy, you need to get that shirt.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
oh yeah, she just fell in love with it. So when it came in the mail, she was just excited. I want to open it. I want to open it. I mean, so it's good to even just see the kids get excited because she knows exactly what frugal is.
Hmm.
So she was like, "Yeah, Daddy. I mean, we live in frugal, uh, and I didn't see it on there. And I'm probably a conversation offline, but I didn't see any child sizes. Do you have kid
I
sizes?
don't have any child sizes, but that's great feedback. I can get some
Okay, yeah,
child
because
sizes.
she wanted one as well, and I was strolling through there, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't see one," so just putting that out there.
And I have a discount code, so if you use Frugal, oh no, if you use Freddy 10, you get 10% off on the shirt. So Freddy 10, but
That's
I'll
Freddie
get those.
with two D's, right?
Yes, and a Y.
Okay, Freddie 10. I'm gonna after this video processes to YouTube, I will make sure I drop that in the comments if that's okay with you.
Okay, no biggie at all.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much. And remember, everyone, that being frugal is not about being cheap. It's about being resourceful. Y'all have a great night. All right.